service, governance is incomplete without the civil service. And then I still see that the civil service still offers the best compared to the private because they tend to promote professionalism, whether or not people see it, but I think that the civil service promotes professionalism. However, I think we need to move ahead. Rather than relying on the past, we have to move with the times, especially in times like this when there's a lot of technological improvements. So the civil service also has to move along so that we're not top from technology from what is happening around us.
Also, you don't talk about and they trying to invent a wheel that has already been established or set. So these kinds of meetings help us to start from what our brother states.
Day 2. I guess the only part that was missed out here was the state banquet. How many of you were around for the state banquet? It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was just amazing. Okay, so this morning we're going to do a little bit of team exercise. Yes, and to take us on that journey this morning is no other person than the DG of JOPSA, Precious Imuwaye Ajonu, as she comes to take us on this session on the team building. Please, a round of applause for the DG of JOPSA.
Okay. Okay.
As a service, ladies and gentlemen, I just thought I'll make this announcement because we are meeting against the background of a change in another country. There was an election last night, and after 14 years of being in the doldrum, the Labour Party is back to power. But that's not the story for me. The story is that the new Prime Minister, who probably will be visiting the King this morning and start work, his first statement is that they are going to return government back to the civil service. I thought I mentioned that.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Keshi, for that. I'm just going to stand on all existing protocols, and we're going to have a national village. I'm going to tell us a little bit about it so that we're excited enough. We have gifts, and we want to practice collaboration. Yesterday, when we were discussing the Benin Declaration, one of the things that came out was we need to collaborate. But how? And in this game that I've done I used to do training for, oil and gas companies across Africa. So I've done it for senior executives. I've also done it for children. And I'll tell you, the children do it better. I don't know why. I don't know why. They do it better because the senior executives, in fact, I did for a team of engineers, and they thought about it, and by the time they were done, all the structures were destroyed. And I said it explains a lot of things about our country, isn't it? Because these are the people in charge. But no, what I want us to do is to be very competitive, but I really want us to practice collaboration. That's why we're doing this. So that when we leave here, we'll still call each other. There are two things that we can do. We can do workshops where we just have talk shows, and then we go back and everybody forgets. Maybe remember that we had nice dining in Benin, but that's not what we want. We want us to start to work together. So we're going to have 10 groups, and I'm going to follow Ambassador Keshi's lead, which is we'll go with numbers. So 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10. Is that okay? We'll start from Dr. Issa Aremu. Thank you, sir. You're number 1. Chairman, sir, you're number 2. Mrs. Keshi, would you like to join us? We'll be honored. Number 3, thank you. Ambassador Keshi, number 4. Awesome. Head of Service, sir, number 5. Head of Service, ma'am, number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. And PSG, number 10. So, number 1, 2,
All the numbers.
3.
Maybe calling the numbers.
I call it 4. You are number 4. Emmanuel, 5. Okay, no, gentlemen there. 5. Emmanuel, 6. 7. 9. 10. So I'm coming this way. The gentleman here, number 1. Hello, sir. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. Lady, hello. Number 7. Great. 8. 10. Number 1. Good. 2. 3. We're awake. Awesome. So I'll just go behind. 4. 5. 7. Absolutely amazing. We're awake. The man in the red cap, number 9. 2. PS Emeritus, number 3. 4. 5. 7. Okay, next row. 8. Good. We're paying attention. Awesome. Number 2. Number 3. Yeah, number 3. 4. 5. 9. All right? So where are we now? Number 1? Good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm coming to, yes, EBS. Number 10. Brilliant. You're paying attention. 1. 2. Good. 3. Who else? If we just sat together, it would have been much easier. 4. 4. Okay. So you're 5. 6. Good. 7. Brilliant. 8. Awesome. Now 9. That's it. Sports guy. 10. Good. Number 1. That's it. 2. Call your number. Good. Good. 8. Brilliant. Now go. 9. Fantastic. Number 1. Good. Okay. Good. Yeah. 10. Number 1, 2, 3. All right. Wow, what a fun round of applause for yourself. Fantastic group. Good. So now, this is where leadership comes in. Let's pay attention, please, because we're going to practice leadership now. All the ones will have to come this way, led by Dr. Issa Remu, please. So you're coming to the front row. If you are number 1, please come this way. Thank you. Can we do that, the number 1s? Please get up so that we're mindful of time. Up. Let's go. Number 1's here. Yes, number 1. So group 1. No, we'll go to the next. Good. Number 3 will come here. Number 3. Number 4, 2. Give them. So like that. Thank you. I'm going to inconvenience you a little bit. Change is never easy. I'm sorry. But it's necessary. Don't worry. We'll figure it out very quickly. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you as you comply. Okay, please, you can leave your things where they are. If I promise you that you are going to find them. So you can leave them if you want. Yes, ma'am. Number 7. Okay, number 7 is behind there. Number 8 is also behind. Yes. 9, 10 behind. Thank you. All the number 1s, the number 3s. Let's get chatting. Collaboration in fine motion. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to settle down. Collaboration in fine motion. Once you find your group, sit down. Jupsa, help. Number 3. Number 2 is over there. Number 2 is behind. Number 2 is behind. Where the lady is. Group 9 is at the back. If you are group 9, 10, you are at the back. So, yeah. so this is your group. Number 3 is here. Number 4 is behind number 3. All the way down. I'm just waiting for our leaders to lead. Have we found our groups? Team Jupsa, please help. Settle everybody down. We need to start. Is anybody looking for their group? Please settle down, leaders of the South-South region. Absolutely, yes, you can. So you can pull a seat from the other class. Right? Yeah, you can bring a seat. Your group? Okay, sir. Okay. Do we have materials, Desmond, in every group? All groups have materials. I need a timepiece.
The car has over the remainder.
Yes, put a time on the screen. Let's have a time on the screen. Yes. Okay. Have we settled down? Together, everyone in all the great states achieve more. Okay. So now you will settle down and about to share instructions, right? Now, does every single team have a tray in front of them? Do you have a tray? In your tray, there's sticks of spaghetti, there's a marshmallow, and you have all your construction materials. We're about to construct the tallest, strongest secretariat in the South-South. That's what we want to do. The tallest, the strongest secretariat. And please note there's a marshmallow one. It's going to sit on top of your secretariat. That's what we're doing. So you have one marshmallow, it will sit. I'm not going to give any further guidelines. You know why? Because we are all leaders. All we know is that we want to build the strongest institution in the South-South. And that is our task. And we're giving you fantastic construction materials. I'm going to give us exactly 15 minutes to do this. And then we'll have a quick debrief. We'll give up our methodology and our head of service will give up prizes. And we'll be done. Do we have any questions at all before we proceed? In front of you, you have very strong materials. So, good luck. If we don't have any questions, I'm happy to say that. Can we have our timer on the screen? Yes. Thank you. Let's see which state has the strongest secretariat. Okay. And just to let us know, once you finish your building, please leave it on the table for us to measure. It should be able to stand on its own without being supported. Good luck, everyone. Please do not build your structures in the tray. Please build on the table. The table will serve as the foundation. Thank you. And the time starts now.
Sometimes I wonder what I'd be had I not found you. Lost in the world, so this world showed me nothing new. And now my life's a canvas, painted with the line. I see together through time. Hi everybody, sorry to interrupt, but we have just 5 minutes left. Please remember that your marshmallow should be on top. Thank you. 5 minutes left, thank you. Let's see who builds the best secretariat in the South-South. Good job, you. Like they say in education.
2 more minutes. When you are done, leave it on the table. The team should go back and sit. Leave it on the table when you are done. When you are done, leave your secretariat, then go back to your seats. Your secretariat must be standing on its own, no support of any kind. I can see some Burj Khalifas here. I can see some duplexes. I can see some story building. This is just fun and amazing to watch. You have 1 more minute left. 1 more minute left. When the time elapses, you would have to stop. Yes, I took note of group 1, yes. Group 1 stopped like 3 minutes ago. Less than 30 seconds. Can we now begin to leave our building on its own? Can we leave our building on its own? 20 seconds left. Back to our seats. Stand close to your project. Stand close to your project. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. So please go back and your leader will stand whilst we take measurement. Oh, that's beautiful from group 3. Can we have pictures as well? We're going to measure. Please stop. 7 centimeters, group 1. His Excellency Chief John Odigo who just walked in. That's group 3, I think, confirmed. We need to be sure. Group 3. Welcome, Your Excellency. Thank you for being here. Please sit down as we measure. Thank you. Let's not be rowdy. Ask them for the name of the group. Be sure as you measure. Thank you. What's the name of the? Get the name of the group. Always get the name of the group. Get the name of the group. Please return to your seats, please. Please return to your seats. Thank you. His Excellency Chief John Odigo just walked in whilst we're doing the marshmallow challenge. Welcome, sir. Yesterday it sounded so easy. Now we're practicing it and it's a bit difficult. Can Thank you so much as you see. We're all discipline leaders. The results are out and it's not either, so please sit down. It's not either. Sit down. Reduce the tension. I'm not going to read it now. I'm going to put an another picture. Okay. All right. So please sit down. A few things. Thank you. I'm sure you didn't hear me when I said His Excellency Chief General Oyedimo had walked in because we're all talking. Round of applause, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we tried to, yesterday we had dinner and then we talked about the Benin Declaration. And everybody agreed that we should collaborate. But we said, okay, let's practice what we've said, just so that we are sure that when we go back, and that's what we walked into, us practicing collaboration. It was quite interesting. Sir? I think so, yes. I think so. Round of applause for us, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to read the results, but that's not really the objective. And to be clear, yes, because I know a lot of us just want to pass. But you know, you learn more during the process than when you get to the end destination. You build character as you go through adversity, true? So it's the character building that we're interested in, not necessarily who came first. In fact, when my children, they went through Montessori school, when they were in preschool, there was no such thing as first. Till today, I don't care about first. But I care about who you become as you evolve. So that was the point of this. I saw a group, I won't say which one, where there was the head of service doing it and everybody just stayed and they were watching Oga. Until Oga was trying to leave. And then after a while, Oga decided that, you know what, you people need to join this thing. Because we need to win. And that's really what we want to see. We want to see collaboration in practice. It's very easy to say things. And we live in a very interesting country where everybody says it, but who's doing it? One of the most religious in the world, but doesn't. So yeah, there you go. So let's have the results very quickly. And please, let's trust each other, because I already saw emotions. You know, people say, oh, somebody pushed my own. We don't do that in the South. Do we agree? Yeah. We are people of integrity. Do we agree? Yeah. We trust each other, don't we? Yeah. Yes. We are a strong bloc and we're going to lead this country. So please trust us when we read the results. Thank you. Don't come for me. So group 1 measured 30.7 centimeters. Round of applause. Group 2 measured 40.8 centimeters. Group 3, 70 centimeters. Where's group 4 and 5? Okay, there was no 4, there was no 5. Please, where's group 4? Okay, okay, group 4. Now, see, we are a place of rules, right? So we have said stop, and it appeared we were, still working. So let's be honest enough to say, you agree, right? So you agreed and you were disqualified. A round of applause for you. Good job, you. Yeah. I think similar thing for group 5. Thank you. Clap for yourself. Disqualified. Didn't follow instructions. Group 6, 40.2 centimeters. Group 8, 60 centimeters. Group 9, 40.6 centimeters. Good job. And then finally, group 10, 60.7 centimeters. So I will start from 3rd place. So in 3rd place, please. Group 8 at 60 centimeters.
your group, we have the beans for you. Okay, so all of you, pictures, be very proud of your work. Let's do it very quickly. Thank you. Yes. What? The head of service will not represent his that. And before we finish this, Group 10, 60.7 centimeters. Good job, you. Please come forward for your presence. Group 10, good job. Led by a female barista, correct? Good. Group 10, good job. Good job, Group 10. Very quickly so that we can continue. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. Group 10. Teamwork makes the dream work, like they say. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. Awesome. In first place, the winners of this challenge, tallest secretariat in the South, built here at Jusa in 15 minutes, no mean feat, goes to Group 3. Yes. And so, because they won first place, His Excellency will be doing the presentation, please. Stand up. You shouldn't want to join the winning group. You should join the most difficult one so that you can build them up. That's how that works. Thank you, sir. All right, can a representative of your group just tell us how you won it so that the rest of us can learn from your experience? Thank you. Oh,
Thank you very much, the chairman and my colleagues, my bosses and my colleagues here. It was a teamwork, dedication, and patience with one another. We started with a lot of contributions from every person, from the most silent to the loudest person. They all had their contributions. So we accepted one another, on one another's contribution, the way they came, and worked with it. At the end, we got a very beautiful result. Thank you very much.
so much. Thank you. Please go back to your seat and we may resume the program. Dr. Break, please. Thank you so much, everyone. This is free and fair. This is free and fair.
Wow. One at Bama Friday Desmond. Please come towards the volunteers so you can pick up your bag. I think it was mistakenly swapped. Okay, so next on our list this morning, first presentation of this morning, which is the third day. Now, let's get our writing materials ready. Let's get our hearts open as we bring up on stage the host, head of service for this retreat, no other person than Dr. Anthony Osa Okumbawa, as he comes up for his presentation today. A round of applause, please, for our head of service at those states.
Makes all the difference in my life. Day by day, sweetheart, I find. These are
Please, I don't know if my PA is around. Yeah, please. My system is not fully charged, so get it. Okay. Your Excellency, the former governor of Edo State, after whom this edifice is deservedly named. Chief John Odege Oyegun was the quintessence of the civil service, one that you and I, I'm sure, desire to emulate. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. And I must particularly thank you because over the past 3 days, inclusive of today, you have been here. You also promised you'll be here today. Thank you, sir, for coming. May I also acknowledge very quickly the Director General of the Braced Commission and his dear wife, my colleagues, heads of service from the Braced States. I'd like to welcome all of you and everyone here. I want to thank you for coming. It's the third and final day, and usually on the third and final day of the program, it is difficult to get people, but you have, it's been different today. We have almost a full house. Thank you. No worries. Okay. title of my presentation is Digitizing the Civil and Public Service in the Braced Region, the Edo story. Before I go into the main text of my presentation, I'd like to say very quickly 3 things. First, I want to appeal to you, to apologize. This presentation is not in the normal modern way, which is PowerPoint presentation. And the reason is that I had actually thought, after the fire chat 2 days ago, that there was no need to go on with this presentation, because indeed, most of the things I want to talk about today have either been directly or indirectly discussed, either at the fire chat or before then when Mr. Governor spoke, and in the course of the program so far. So I didn't think it was needful and expedient to do this. But after having discussed my concerns with the DG and of course DG Jupsa, they were of the view that we should go on and do it. And that's why we're doing it today. So it's not in PowerPoint presentation, it's in prose. Because I would like to, a lot of the things that need to be said, like I said, have been said. What has not been said, in my opinion, is the how we have done this. And that how I like to put in prose, so that's why we're doing this in prose rather than in PowerPoint. Secondly, and this point is almost often lost on us, there is a whole world of difference between digitizing and digitalizing. Many times, it just doesn't occur to us. To digitize is to transmit paper into digital form. Really, that's one part of the process. To digitalize is to employ the use of what you have transmitted to govern. And that's the second and more important part of it. Therefore, this paper would cover both parts. And that's what we have done in Edo. Digitizing, which is what we have done with respect to archiving, and what CSCS has helped us to do here. Again, I'll go into the details of that in the course of this presentation. And digitalizing, which has to do with making use of what we have done by that transmission to run government. That is e-governance. So this presentation will cover both aspects. And then finally, I'd like to appreciate His Excellency the Deputy Governor. Yesterday, even though His Excellency is not here now, but there was a comment he made that I would like to comment a bit on, and I'm very happy he raised it. Because, this process is not a destination. It is a journey. And I think that's important. Because if we think of digitalization as a destination, we'll miss the point. It is actually a process. Again, I will explain that later. And Mr. Deputy Governor gave thanks deservedly to my immediate predecessor in office. I'm very grateful that he mentioned that. When Jesus was being baptized in River Jordan, there was a voice that came from heaven. How many of us remember? They said, "This is my son in whom I'm well pleased. Follow him, listen to him." Just as fathers can be pleased in sons, sons can also be pleased in fathers. For me, my immediate predecessor is a father in whom I'm well placed. And I think that those thanks, that appreciation yesterday deservedly go to him. But beyond him, I must also thank, because there's a legion of people who have been involved in this. The governor had a dream, sold it to his people. They bought into it, and they have been driving it since then. The penultimate head of service, Mrs. Gladys Idaho, must also be appreciated. And then beyond that, there's a woman who has served, or who served as chairman of the Civil Service Commission, and before then, head of service, Princess Mrs. Ine, who was also pivotal in the success of what we have done. And the list goes on and on. But I'd like to also say that even in the conceptualization of it, by the grace of God, I have been there. And the implementation of it, by the grace of God, we've taken it quite well. And in the course of the implementation, we have had to effect changes to the original concept. For instance, it was never in the books that we should have a cutoff point. We put that in. Again, this is a lesson that we must learn. Even when you have a concept, everything has been, but it's not cast in stone. So you must continuously continually subject that concept to critical analysis, to interrogation, if possible, at regular intervals, to see whether what you're doing is the proper thing. Because oftentimes in the course of this journey, I said earlier that it's a journey rather than a destination. You will find things that you wake up to and you say, oh, well, this is not the way we should go. We should go in this other way. Or we just adjust the way we have been going and all of that. So we have been doing that. Beyond that, we're to do this in phases. We started with the pilot phase. But at some point, we said to ourselves, if we have to do this in phases, only God knows where we'll succeed in completing the process. So at some point, we just took the leap. What Christians call the leap of faith. Even though we had done some analysis, and so we applied the whole thing to the whole of the service. So rather than do it in phases, and probably we'll still have been in the third or fourth phase by now, in terms of the number of MDs, we have applied it to the service, and by the grace of God, it has been quite successful. Okay, I think I've said all that I want to say initially, so I want to thank you. Okay, I would like to begin this presentation with a quotation from the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Digital transformation is not just about technology, it is about unlocking the potential of government to serve citizens better, to be more responsive, to be more efficient and more effective. It is about building a government, I like this part of it, that is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people of the 21st century. So, digitalization is about building a government. What that means is that if you succeed in digitalizing the public service, you would have succeeded in building an efficient government that would deliver quality governance to the people. This quote signposts the significance of digitalization in enhancing public services, making them more citizen-centric, efficient, and effective. It emphasizes the potential of technology to transform governments, serve their citizens, and to build a more inclusive and responsive public service. Government exists for the people. The Constitution is quite clear on it in Section 14. Government exists for the people, to ensure that the needs of the people are taken care of. And that is why in subsection A of section 14, it's very clearly stated that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom government, through the Constitution, derives all its powers and authority. So ultimately, the authority that government exercises is the authority of the people. And so digitalization would make the public service, and by extension government, serve the people better. I take this forum as a special moment of my career, and I want to believe it is the same for everyone here, particularly my colleagues, heads of service from the other British states. To be nested alongside my contemporaries, career technocrats, warriors of governance, and veterans of statecraft who have dedicated their work lives to the public good, not for some idle prattle, but to find ways to accelerate the progress of the public services of the South-South region. It is indeed for me a momentous occasion. The theme of this retreat, leadership in the public sector, that's the theme. Whilst I believe that we're having this assembly as a very pivotal period, considering the present socio-economic climate in the country, the theme is, for me, befitting and quite apt. Significantly, the topic I've been asked to address is digitizing the civil and public service in the Brace region, the Edo example. Again, this topic is quite instructive, considering the vital importance of digitalization to the growth and development of the public service. And the fact that Edo has been at the forefront of this effort for some years now, blazing the trail and breaking barriers. How we're able to do that, I will let you in the course of this presentation. The other issues with the Director General, which the Director General of the Brace Commission requested me to address, that is, the outcomes of the transformation project in Edo State, have been very well highlighted. First by His Excellency Mr. Governor himself, and later severally in the course of the fire chat 2 days ago. I cannot pretend to be capable of putting it better than the chief strategist himself, I mean the governor, who, as someone put it yesterday or 2 days ago, is the vision bearer of this effort. I would therefore request to skip this part since we have had the same audience since we started 2 days ago. I suppose that revisiting the issues we said, not much useful purpose. What I would therefore propose to do is to refer to these successful efforts in the course of dealing with the main topic of the presentation whenever the occasion warrants. But I will concentrate on the main topic, which is on digitalization. I have no doubt in my mind that the services we're all employed into in our different states are quite different from what they used to be. Our experiences have been obviously different. As we saw from the fire chat 2 days ago, there's no doubt that we have all made progress, each and every one of us in the Brace states. But for each of us, what is good can always be better. Even for us here, it can be better. To achieve this, we must learn from each other. We must leverage each other's strengths so as to serve as a buffer for our respective weaknesses. If we learn from each other what data has done and we haven't done, what we have done and bias hasn't done, we'll be better together and make progress together. This is primarily what this retreat is all about, and indeed, this is the philosophy that underlines this presentation. On day one of this retreat, His Excellency Mr. Governor took time to address, in his address, to explain the why and the what of the Edo State Public Service Transformation efforts, and gave some attention to the outcomes which our e-governance project has engendered. What I will attempt to do today is to concentrate on the how of the project, by which I mean a series of definite and intentional efforts and steps which we took to give effect to the desire of the governor to achieve digital governance in Edo State. I don't think it is still a matter of polemics that Edo has scored a lot of firsts. Is it in the welfare of civil servants? Minimum wage, we have been the first since 2022. Is it in the area of infrastructure development, civil and public service? Yesterday, we took a trip to the Secretariat building, and our people were quite impressed with what they saw. Is it with respect to the organograms that we have reviewed? Because those are the latent things that you don't see, the aesthetics that you see in the Secretariat. There's a lot more that's happened. The work equipment, the quality of the work equipment, the organizational structure review that we have done, all of that have enabled the service to perform a lot better. Is it in the area of life assurance that we have in the service? Is it in the area of health insurance that we have? Is it in the area of the payment every month by 26th of the month of our salaries? And of course, the one that is most interesting according to our people, the 13th month salary. I can go on and on and on and on. Is it in the area of automatic employment for first-class graduates, which is the standing policy in this state today? There's been a lot that has been done. But like I said, we are going to concentrate on this other part of it that has to do with digitalization. Because today we are the first state, and right now the only state that's gone completely paperless, from paper to paperless. And that again is something that has been quite impressive. In the 1990s, we had a bureaucracy that was one of the major employers of labor in the country. In the present day, the private sector has expanded in leaps and bounds, emerging as a viable competition for quality manpower. We have transited from the use of telegram to postage stamps to witnessing the internet revolution. We have seen how that evolution has powered systems, businesses, government policies, social life, economies, and our general way of doing things. We have learned to make use of the email, web portals, interactive mobile applications,
We have seen how technology came to the rescue in helping the world withstand the COVID-19 pandemic, when humanity had to conjure with the power of technology and made distance disappear before our very eyes, and time became our friend. Technology has therefore become the very lifeblood of every institution that is worth its weight in gold. That is why I cannot agree less. And I quoted with relish the words of the United Nations Secretary General, where he highlighted with considerable emphasis the power and impact of technology in the 21st century world. As we have seen in Edo, with the pioneering efforts of His Excellency, the Governor, we have been able to recalibrate, retool, and re-energize the public service of Edo State, and the results have been outstanding and marvelous in our eyes. I make bold to say that the digital transformative journey that we have undertaken in Edo holds the potential to revolutionize governance and service delivery in this region that we fondly call the Brave States. The digitalization of the public service, but it has to be emphasized that the successes which we now celebrate in the public service of Edo State were not mere happenstance. They didn't just happen, but the result of deliberate planning and careful execution. When the government of His Excellency Mr. Godwin Obaseki assumed office in November 2016, he quickly developed a philosophy of governance to guide the administration. This philosophy was encapsulated in what later came to be known as the 6 thematic pillars. Mr. Governor not only mentioned them in his presentation on Wednesday, he also drew the nexus between them. And for the governor, and this has been the way government has run, the most important of these pillars is the institutional reform pillar, because a lot of the others, in fact, all of the others revolve around that pillar. It's important to observe that Mr. Governor has consistently opined that the civil and public service, the civil or public service is the engine of government. And so, according to His Excellency, if government is to run effectively, then the engine that services it must work optimally. This has been the central focus of Mr. Governor, and that is why he has spent those stone unturned in ensuring that all the investment that would require in the civil and public service were made. This has been the gravamen and central focus of Mr. Governor's burning desire to transform the institution of the public service. So therefore, no surprise that the very first of these thematic pillars was the institutional reforms. Here, government pledged to reform all institutions, in particular the civil and public service. To effectively undertake this assignment, government embarked on a holistic assessment of the public service and its processes. And I must say this, and it's something I must emphasize. Mr. Governor is not one governor who will take action in an ad hoc manner. He is always very careful to assess the situation. And then the decisions we take, they're usually fact-based. They're not things we just get into. And that has helped a lot. One of the discoveries from this exercise was that the civil and public service were very weak and incapable of delivering on their assignment. That is, enabling and powering the political class, or enabling or partnering the political class to deliver quality governance to the people of Edo State. The morale of the workforce was poor. The processes, of the service were manual, slow, and in most cases frustrating. Workplace environment was poor. People worked under terrible conditions with very poor work equipment. Even equipment as simple as computers and photocopiers were either in terribly short supply, or were unavailable, or where they were available were in poor conditions. I give an example. There were times when we were in the Ministry of Justice and even photocopiers were not available. So we had to move from our offices to places like Saple Road, Gowon Exotic, and Agbaba to photocopy documents. And sometimes unwittingly, some of those documents were left behind. Or surreptitiously, some of those who helped us do the photocopy kept copies behind. And sometimes when you heard comments, oh, this is what government is doing, this is what government is doing. And then it seemed as if the civil servant had deliberately leaked public information, oftentimes was a result of this. These things were not available. But fast forward, that is a thing of the past now. Okay, additionally, the organograms, and this is very important, the organograms of the MDAs were old and virtually anachronistic. The Bible says if you put a new wine in an old wineskin, you know what will happen to the wineskin. And that's what we're doing. You had organograms that had been inherited from the colonial administration, and we have made progress. So we needed to review those organograms. This is one thing that we have done that has been very latent because it's not been out there in the public domain. But we have reviewed the organogram of each of the ministries, departments, and agencies that we have. And that has re-engineered these MDAs in terms of delivery capacity. Oftentimes, human capacity development was poorly attended to. Oftentimes, staff embarked on training programs only for the purpose of satisfying their financial needs, rather than developing themselves and the system. Overall, the system or the service was unable to effectively play its role of supporting and powering the initiatives of government. I've often said that there's nothing government does today that it does not do through the instrumentality of the civil institutions. Government wants to build roads. There's a ministry for it. Government wants to grow the environment. There's a ministry for it. Is it agreed? Just name it. So those who understand the way government works, and those who are good at it, like our government, understood from the get-go that if you strengthen the civil service, if you strengthen the public service, you're actually strengthening governance and the capacity of government to deliver on its assigned responsibility, on its promises to the people. And that's why, again, you must understand this. If a civil servant is poorly treated, if a civil servant's welfare is not well taken care of, if a civil servant works in an office that is poorly ventilated or without an air conditioner, you know that because the civil servant is the eye of government, because government renders services through the civil servant, every problem that the civil servant has, he will put in his face in dealing with members of the public. And many times, when members of the public say a government is bad, it is not really that the government is bad. It is because the civil servants that they see are not cooperating and they are not doing what they are supposed to do. So what this government has done is to ensure that the welfare of civil servants, workplace environment of civil servants, taken care of. So the civil servant is confident when he engages with the public on behalf of government. And so the story now is changing from being evil servants, that's what they used to call us. Now we are servants, true servants of the people. Overall, the service was unable to effectively play its role of supporting and powering initiatives of government. Civil and public service had thus become the lame duck and repeatedly came under heavy criticism by the political class for this failure. The service was therefore treated with suspicion and contempt. And this was the major cause of the renowned friction and frequent blame games between the political class and the bureaucracy. The issue needed to be addressed and urgently too. I must, however, point out that government is a continuum. Previous governments had made serious efforts to shore up the growth and development of the public service beyond the level they met it. Every government has its preferred areas of attention, and previous governments tried their best to salvage the service. And I recall, I wasn't in service then, that our former governor, even though his tenure was short, made a lot of efforts to grow and develop the civil service. We thank you, Your Excellency. But it appears the service was broken. The rot was humongous and needed a holistic, fact-based attention to the issues. This crucial need is what the present administration satisfied. As a matter of fact, this is the first time in the history of this state where there has been a deliberate, very focused, intentional, strategic attention given to the civil and public service. In all its areas of deficiencies, government has attended to them. Now, to be able to do this, government set up the transformation team, which eventually developed the Edo State Transformation and Enhancement Project, the Edo Step. The Edo Step project was built in a strategic plan of action, part of which was targeted at ensuring effectiveness in the processes of government. It was a holistic effort towards rapidly growing and developing the civil and public service. But to achieve maximum impact, the team broke implementation into phases, the first of which targeted the Ministry of Finance and a subset, the Office of the Accountant General. The success of this pilot phase encouraged us to extend the project to other MDAs in subsequent phases. We have now covered all the MDAs with significant success. This project is in its fourth phase, and I will explain that, which is intended to consolidate in the gains of the earlier phase. I said earlier that we had intended to take this in a phased manner, phased in terms of number of MDAs. To take 5 MDAs at a time, take another 5 MDAs, take another 5. But we have to abandon that. So the first implementation that we have been talking about has been with respect to what have been doing. We have been doing. First phase, look at it, how far have we gone? What are the deficiencies? What are the things, what are the lessons to be learned? And then in the second phase, you address those lessons. And then there are some further lessons to be learned. In the third phase, you address them. So the first implementation has not been with respect to the number of MDAs, but with respect to our strategy in terms of addressing the issues that have arisen. It's also important to mention that the conceptualization and the success of the implementation were to a large extent due to private sector involvement in the process. Again, this must be stressed because we paid considerable attention in the course of the fire chat to this issue. The truth is, you can't really, if you want to make progress, there's a lot that the private sector has out there that you need to leverage within. So when you condemn consultancies, you're not doing the system any good. There has to be a point of handshake. There has to be a relationship. There has to be some synergy built between the private sector and the public sector. And that's what we have done in Edo. Early on, Mr. Governor appointed for us a consultant, Greenfields Consultancy and Allied Services Limited, a very experienced human resource expert that initially handheld us through the teaching parts of the project. This again is something we can leverage in our other states. Later, we had Green Zone Company Limited, which is the current consultant that has continued with us to date. It is, however, also noteworthy that we took ownership of the project and led from the front. That's important because what we have seen is that you appoint a consultant, the consultant determines everything. You just hide behind the consultant. That's what is wrong. The consultant is to help you, is to assist you. So you should be at the forefront, and the consultant will offer his support or their support from behind, so that you can take ownership of it and drive the process. Tomorrow, the consultant may not be with you. And so you don't want to be thrown into a situation where there's a huge vacuum. You have to take ownership, even though you have a consultant leading you. Okay. Later, we have Green Zone Limited, which is a consultant that's continued with us today. It is, however, also noteworthy that we took ownership of the project and led from the front, while the consultant provided support from behind. As a result of this project, the service has achieved progress through careful implementation and scrupulous attention to details. Success has been on numerous fronts. Today, Edo State, courtesy of this effort, courtesy of the governor's efforts, is number 1 on many fronts. As I said, I do not intend to bore you with these success stories. I've mentioned a few of them already. We have already discussed most of them. Now, the main topic of this presentation, digital transformation in the public service, the case of Edo. Here, I will take you through a blow-by-blow account of what we did and how this was achieved. The Edo State Digital Transformation Project, initiated by His Excellency Mr. Governor Obaseki, reflects his purposeful commitment to the vision of his administration, which is exemplified by the acronym MEGA. MEGA means making Edo great again. Many people say, make Edo great again. That's not correct. Making is a verb. Making Edo great again. A comprehensive 5-year technology strategic plan commenced in the year 2020, shortly after His Excellency graciously appointed me as head of service, and was formulated to steer the digital transformation agenda of the government, encompassing a total of 77 initiatives. Again, we can share this document with you. and projects, the plan aspired to foster the development of a globally competitive digital economy powered by technology, ultimately benefiting the citizens of Edo by the year 2025. The focus of this transformational agenda was originally directed towards the civil service. However, as at today, the operations of Edo State government across its 76 ministries, departments, and agencies are conducted in a paperless environment, making Edo the first state among subnationals to go paperless. And that took effect from September 1, 2023. This transition has resulted in heightened efficiency, productivity, and transparency, ultimately enhancing service delivery to the citizens and residents of the state. But there's the other side of the coin. Conversely, it has also engendered heightened expectation. The Edo Gov proprietary enterprise resource planning tool, the ERP system, was officially launched in 2022. Again, as I said yesterday, that was the official launch date. Before then, there had been investment in technology. So when you say 2022, the impression that is perhaps unwittingly conveyed is that the whole thing started in 2022. It didn't start in 2022. The broadband internet penetration that the governor insisted on and ensured that we had happened before that time. And so we must understand that. That investment must happen before the project itself gets to its final stage. To date, more than 36,000 staff members have been integrated and onboarded on the EdoGov ERP platform, with over 7,000 laptops distributed to facilitate this transition. Mr. Governor mentioned, 2 days ago, and we dwelt a bit on the lease option, which we adopted to ensure provision of computers for our workers. So I will not dwell much on this, but it's something that we can keep sharing so that other states can also know. EdoGov mobile apps and kiosks in the MDAs have been strategically deployed to address gaps in laptop accessibility. You know, we said that yesterday, but I think we must repeat it because it's important for what we have done. We knew that with nearly 40,000 workers, it was impossible to provide laptop for everybody. We adopted a lease option, so we're expanding the spectrum in terms of the number of laptops. But we know that 40,000, nearly 40,000 is a lot. So what did we do? To ensure that the gaps were taken care of, we had what we call the mobile app. I'm sure most of us here who are from Edo State Civil Public Service have the app. It is downloaded on your Android phone, and with that app, you can access the ERP from anywhere. We also have the kiosk system. You know, rather than give one computer to a civil servant, we had a situation where in MDAs, most MDAs, we had a set of desktops, not laptops now, put together in a conspicuous part of the ministry, department, or agency that have internet. And then you can access and work on the ERP from these computers. So what that means is that, you know, because I have my computer now, I'm not doing EGOV right now. So it means that I don't need to have this computer 24/7. What I need to do is to have access to a computer to work. And so the kiosks provide that access. The third option was that we ensured that everyone who had a computer and wanted to have access to the ERP, we brought that computer into the system subject to certain conditions. And then we also ensured that you could work with those computers. And then the final thing was what we call the buy-to-own project. What that means is that government will provide funds to provide computers. If you wanted it, you could apply. But the computer in this case is your own and not government owned. Government will provide a certain amount of money, usually about 50%. You pay the other 50%. And the governor says the 50% that you are paying, you must not pay more than monthly at the rate of 5,000. So if it is 100,000 for a computer, government pays 50,000, you pay 50,000. But you pay your 50,000 over a period of 10 months. And so it becomes very easy for you to and these are the ideas of Mr. Governor. You know, he just gave them to us and then we ran with it. EduGov mobile apps and kiosks in the MDAs have been strategically deployed to address gaps in laptop accessibility, and efforts are continuously on to further enhance laptop distribution and ownership by the workforce. Since inception of the paperless governance, over 125,000 transactions have been made on the eGov platform. That's a huge lot, 125,000 transactions. The flexibility of the system now allows us to work remotely. Again, that's one major thing that the system has done for us. If I'm in the UK, if I'm in the US, Kano, I'm in Kaduna, when we're in Yola, when we're in Bauchi, I was working. So you are no longer limited by physical space because you have your VPN when it comes to working. So you don't have to carry all your files. So anywhere you are, you can work. And this is one beautiful thing that EduGov has done for us. The introduction of an electronic document management system, again, that's one issue you must take note of, that has access to every file system. The governor of Edo State has access to every file system. I have access to every file in the system. The commissioner and permanent secretary in every ministry have access to every file within their ministerial domain. So that's the way we have to. And in fact, it's not every worker within the ministry that has access to every file. So access is limited. Again, that's something we're trying to do so that we're careful about the use of documents. Now, in addition, and this is quite significant, Edo State has established a Tier 3 data center. And what's significant about the data center is that there's a recovery site outside the state. So, God forbid, if that data center is destroyed today, we can recover our documents. This is to ensure seamless business continuity in governance operations. Edo State, this has been in the news lately, has also successfully deployed over 2,000 kilometers of fiber optics infrastructure, connecting all 18 local government areas in the state. This was undertaken for us by a company called Genesis, currently working. So every one of those 18 local government areas is up and can be accessed. What we have done with this, and again, this is an initiative of the governor, is that everyone, both in Benin and in the hinterland, in again, both there in the furthest part of the state, is able to have access to the internet. And don't forget, what the governor has done with the civil service is just a part of what he intends to do. The intention is to make this place the digital hub so that everyone, beyond the civil servants and public servants, will have access to the internet. And you know what children and young people can do with the internet? So what we have done now is to give that access to them as far as the furthest part of the state so that they can access the internet and showcase what they can do. No longer what we used to be known for. There are plans to extend the network beyond the present 2,000 kilometers. And I don't know of any other state that has done this so far. Then we are connecting primary healthcare centers. There's something we're doing with telemedicine, and it's something that's quite instructive. We have a feeling that if we have these internet facilities in the furthest part of the state, even those who have no access to medicine and medical care, in their villages can actually access, medical doctors anywhere in the world. We have tested it and it's working. Medical doctors in the US have had interactions with patients here seamlessly using telemedicine. We're also connecting institutions of learning within this space. Public-private partnership arrangement with the private sector helps secure broadband penetration for the project with current fiber optic initiative. There has also been established a command and control center with toll-free emergency numbers to enhance public safety and service responsiveness. The state government has also worked hard on creating a framework for data on the citizens to be properly captured. The result of this is the residency identity number, a unique identifier to streamline service delivery. That is still work in progress. Yeah, that's what I just said. Meanwhile, constant electricity supply to our offices is guaranteed with our PPP arrangement with the Solar Power Project. Again, that is one area that states must invest if they must realize the full benefits of digital governance. That's an investment the government thought of even before the exemption and the expansion in the electricity space that has now been created at the national level. The legal framework for sustainability as well as development of policies and regulations to sustain these initiatives are fully in place. I'm taking my time to do this because, there's no need lumping things together so you can understand the series of steps and efforts that we're taking. So that when you're going into it, you also know that you may have to make these efforts, or at least adjust them if need be, like we say in law, mutatis mutandis, to suit your purpose. As I mentioned earlier, these achievements have not been mere happenstance. They were carefully planned and meticulously executed. But the ultimate success factor has to be the still-like will and courage of the governor to see it through. You will see the steps that were taken, how the governor facilitated all of them, took the initiative, it was his anyway, and what he did, so that you can also advise your governors, your chief executives, on taking similar steps to what our governor here has taken. I recall that just a few years ago, Mr. Governor publicly declared that he will be the last governor in Edo State to treat physical fights. I am sure he surprised many by that comment. But His Excellency made every word of it and has consistently demonstrated the will, passion, and commitment to see this actualized. Today, the public service of Edo State is paperless and has become a veritable example to other states. Mr. Governor's burning desire to digitalize the service and be the last governor to treat physical fights in Edo State has indeed been achieved. What are the benefits of digitalization? Digitalization is a hard sell. And the reason for that is that it is not really an attractive kind of investment. Why is it not attractive? It's not something people can mark, like we say in these parts. So if you invest, and it's expensive. So if you invest 2 billion, like we did in Tech Refresh, nearly 2 billion, you will find that the infrastructure that you purchase, it may not fill 1/4 of this room. So when you bring that out, and you say, this is what I've invested 2 billion in, people will wonder. They won't stone you. But they're not seeing it. So for them, they want to see skyscrapers, and thankfully this administration has a lot of that. But digital governance is the way to go. Because the benefits are just too many to be ignored. As I'll go into some of them and what we have realized here. The digitalization of the public service offers a pathway to unlock Nigeria's vast potential and accelerate progress towards sustainable development goals. As Antonio Guterres said, digitalizing the public service is an effort in the direction of making governance more effective and productive. Some of the benefits which you have experienced in digital transformation of public service are as follows. Again, when you are selling these to your chief executives, these are the things you must take note of. Increased efficiency and productivity. I'll give you a clear example. You know, those days when we were using paper, and I'm sure we still experience that in our brother states, to move one file from one place to another could take a while. And if you have someone who is recording files and is somebody who has not eaten well, you have a problem. And I'll give you an instance. You know, in government, we use acronyms. For instance, HAG, Honorable Attorney General. AG, Accountant General. Even though in the outside world, AG means Attorney General. Okay, for lawyers, they understand. Now, one day, I sent a file to the Honorable Attorney General, HAG. And my officer, I don't know if he had eaten or not. Maybe I should have asked him that day. I didn't ask. My officer donated the H to whomever and recorded AG. And so the file, instead of going to Honorable Attorney General, went to AG, Accountant General. So when the Accountant General's officer saw it, he just recorded as having received it. And then the file was there. Me, I was expecting the response from the Honorable Attorney General. The man did not get the file. So there was no response forthcoming. Until we had to trace. After 2 or 3 days, I will now discovered that instead of sending the file to the Honorable Attorney General, he has sent the file to the Accountant General. And the officer, when he realized it, the officer who received it did not send the file to the Accountant General, kept the file there in the hope that the officer will come back to pick it. And there was no further need within the next 2 or 3 days to go back there. And so the file was there unattended. So that took 3 days before the file was retrieved and then taken to the right place, Honorable Attorney General. 3 days, nothing was done. In some cases, when a file is being taken, there can be rain, there can be a lot of problems, there can be a lot of problems. You know, so these are the things that have been completely eliminated from the system. I deal with the file now, even while I'm working here. All the work that I worked here, I treated close to 50 files between yesterday, the day before yesterday and yesterday, while I was sitting there. I was making no noise about it. You didn't see anything because there were no files there, but I treated them on the system. So I treat the file now, go to the Attorney General. It goes to him, Honorable Attorney General. In less than 1 minute, he sees it, and he responds immediately. You know, and you know, I also gave an example 2 days ago, and again, this example is a good one. There was an officer who had extended this, even though we put machinery in place for that not to happen. Anyway, who had extended, who had stayed over, and he was desiring to stay even more. He had increased his age, had gone to file an affidavit and all of that. As somebody said to me, age depends on where you swear affidavits. Somebody said that before. So if you depose an affidavit in Kaduna, your age may be 25 years, and 2 years later, you depose another affidavit in Kano, your age may be 20 years. So in decreasing order rather than increasing order. You know, and the man, you know, decreased his age. But at the end of the day, when there were issues, I called him. And I said, he insisted. And he said, this is the affidavit. When did he depose to the affidavit? Just like 2 or 3 years previously, right? Then he insisted, but we tried to find out manually. But we realized that certain things had happened. And what we saw was the one that he had in the CSC. So I just put 1 to 2 and I said, I called on CSCS, our document archivers, and they produced the proper one, which he signed when he entered into service. And it was different, obviously, by 3 years. So I called his attention to it. I wasn't the one who told him to bring his retirement letter the next day. So, thank you. So these are the things that these things can do for you. Okay, so let's just go on. Now, it leads to increased efficiency and productivity. More of this has been achieved through the automation and streamlining of processes. Again, maybe I should also make this example. Some years ago, I went to do a CFO as a private legal practitioner for someone. And somehow, the file just grew wings and disappeared. So when I got there, they were telling me they couldn't find the file. And somehow one of them took me aside and said, can you just do something? I wasn't willing to. So the thing was there for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But eventually it came out because they knew I was not willing to pay money. But my time had been wasted, a fortnight. But today, nobody tells me that you cannot find the file. Because the file is in the system. You cannot see, you can't find the file. So that's one benefit. That, in fact, I'm told reliably that by the time we did the block B of the Secretariat building, there were a lot of files that were under the carpet. A lot. People had retired and left the files there. You know, so, but we're not going to Egypt again. Now, government decisions are now driven by data with more reliable outcomes, even as government-citizen engagement has been enhanced through digital communication. Transparency in governance. Corruption and funds mismanagement has been reduced, thereby boosting the faith of the citizens in government. By extension, there is more confidence in the institutions of government. This is one thing that the system has engendered that is very, very good. Now, there are governments that fight corruption by throwing corrupt people into the jail. But in reality, I am one of the strong proponents. My PhD was on this issue of corruption, my PhD in law. I'm one of the proponents, strong proponents of the fact that you don't destroy a tree by cutting off its branches. If you put people in the jail because they are corrupt, you will succeed in putting people in the jail. People will keep doing it. And so all of the death sentence, all of the firing squad that the military did for armed robbers and kidnappers did not yield the result that the military expected, which is to eliminate armed robbery. Instead, it increased. So what you do, like this government has done, is not to look at, yeah, you can also, is it the downside now, the upstream of it, those who know petroleum, but to look at the costs and the opportunities that people have when it comes to corruption. When you take away those opportunities, you will reduce corruption considerably. So all of these things that we're doing, now, for instance, the fight being here, the opportunity that used to be there for civil servants to hide fights, and by reason of that, get to exploit people, they're not there anymore. So it's better to kill a tree by derooting it, rather than by cutting off its branches. Then we have also had enhanced customer experience. We have had reduction in the cost of governance. That's very, very instructive. A lot of money we used to spend on buying stationaries and all of that. All of that money we have redirected and refocused into better things. So when people were asking the other day, they said, governor has increased minimum wage to 70,000. I said, how will he pay? I was just laughing. Because before he did that, we sat down together. And the governor said something had to go. So all of this overhead that we used to take, we need to take some of it out. We know you still need overhead. So overheads were reduced by how much? 75%. Yeah. And we've been copying. So all of that money saved for us nearly 200 million, which we have redirected into paying the new minimum wage. So the man is a financial wizard. You know, so all of this, so it's not you did not get up to say, oh well, let's increase the minimum wage. No. He had the plan. And the plan is working. I think we should applaud Mr. Governor. The changes that technology has brought to our system have been massive. There have been changes to our internal operations and roles. For instance, those who either work at clerks, recording files physically, like the one that I mentioned earlier, have had a role change to that of personnel who diligently enter same documents into the database. So the fears that people have, and I'll talk about this later, that, oh, my job will go because it's computer now. Didn't happen. Since 2022, we have had no single job loss. We have not right-sized, but I think we have the right size anyway. We have not downsized. We have had the same people. We have even employed more. For 2 years, we have employed about 5,000 people into the system. Yeah, 5,000 people. And none of these people has, and this is significant, because when you have a governor, people talk, something I don't really understand. Not one of these 5,000 people or more that were brought to the system has been brought to the system by the government. Not one. He has not given us a single candidate to employ. And that's why I couldn't employ my sister. Even though I'm still suffering the trouble from that. At home, they're telling me, why can't you not as head of service employers? I said, well, the governor, who is the chief executive of the state, don't employ his brother or sister. So I have a good story to tell, and I have an alibi. In the church, it is the same thing. You know? So these are the things that we've been doing. Rather than resulting in job losses, we're actually employing more. Because we have refocused and recalibrated the roles. Those who were doing clerks, we have reworked their roles to those who now digitally enter the same documents into the system. Again, I'll talk about that later. We have worked very hard to improve connectivity. We have also worked very hard to effect changes to our organizational culture and structure. Again, this is something you must take home with you. The culture of an organization is everything. So you must, as heads of service, as leaders, not just as heads of service, as permanent secretaries, as organizational leaders, ensure that you build a culture around what you're doing. A culture, a learning culture, for instance, of course, we have just about within the ministry or department, you must ensure that that culture is built. Again, we'll talk about that later. Now, we have also worked hard. Okay, this has involved a total review of the organizational structure of the MBAs across the state. I've talked about that earlier. So as to bring them in sync with our present-day technological realities. We have also been concerned about data security and the governor, and how we can leverage available data to make better decisions. Again, this is one thing that we have done. It's not just to wake up and say, we want to do this or do that. With the data we now have, which technology has ensured that we're able to make big decisions that have helped the system to grow. Mr. Governor has set up a data management agency. For me, in our different states, this is something that is a necessity. It doesn't have to come in at the start. It can come in later. Because all of this data that we're mining, all of this data that we're generating, they will be useless and not functional if we cannot take business decisions. If we cannot take decisions that will aid and help growth and development of our organizations with this data. So it's important you have an agency, an organization, an establishment within the system that can interrogate the data that you generate with your electronic system and then be able to give you insights as to how you use the data to work. I have to emphasize that digitalizing the public service in the South-South region can vastly improve accessibility and efficiency, as well as serve as a catalyst for accelerated development in Nigeria. By leveraging data platforms, governments can streamline bureaucratic processes, reduce red tapeism, and minimize corruption. Imagine a future where citizens can access essential services such as healthcare, education, and public assistance with just a few clicks on their smartphones, eliminating the need for long queues and endless paperwork. As I told you, what we are doing in the public service, the government intends to use it as a foundation for a leap into what we'll do with respect to the larger public. So the hope and expectation are that the people of Edo State will also become digitally literate. And they can access digital services, from their smartphones going forward. That is the future that we envisage in Edo. Furthermore, digitalization enhances transparency and accountability, which are essential pillars of good governance. I mentioned that before. Open data initiatives can empower citizens with access to information, enabling them to hold their leaders accountable and participate more actively in the decision-making process, thus increasing trust in government. One of the reasons why governments in Nigeria is going to be impossible. Moreover, digitalization, digitalization, can foster innovation and economic growth. I'll tell you a few things about that in the course of this work. By creating an enabling environment for technology startups and entrepreneurs, government can unleash a wave of creativity and ingenuity, driving job creation and economic diversification. Finally, digital platforms can connect small businesses with markets and resources, leveling the playing field and empowering marginalized communities. You see how businesses have been improved by digital platforms. Small businesses, they're playing on the internet. So you're in America, you can access what a Nigerian small one-room enterprise in Nigeria is doing. And then you can ask for goods to be sent to you, and you pay through digital platforms. So that's the vision of this state that the government has. And that's just starting with the civil service. But it's not been Uhuru all along. We have had challenges. And of course, you will have challenges when you are doing this. There have been many challenges, some serious, others not so serious. From my experience, the digital challenge, the biggest challenge in digital information is not the technology itself. Every tech project involves basically three parts. You have the tech itself, you have the people, and then you have the processes. If you must do well, investment must go across the line. To succeed, efforts must be made to attend to all three elements. However, of the three elements, the people element is the most important. Technology does not drive itself. People have to drive it. And so you must pay the most attention to that element. But again, it is oftentimes the most problematic, and I'll tell you why. If you get that right, the people element, you would have succeeded largely. To succeed, therefore, while you look out for and invest in tech infrastructure and in updating and improving the processes of government, you must make deliberate investment in the people, particularly in capacity development, and ensure that no stone is left unturned in improving the capacity of your staff to acquire digital skills and become effective in working digitally. That investment has to be made and must be deliberate and intentional. Okay, that's what I just said. You must build a learning and development culture. Learning and development culture. Again, that's important. Mohan will tell you about what we have done here. Building a learning and development culture. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not eating much, so maybe that's why I'm not seeing much. Bearing this in mind, in Edo State, we have worked very hard to entrench a new culture and build the capacity of the civil and public service workforce through training and retraining. This has not been easy, but it was a job that needed to be done, and we did it. First, Mr. Governor has always expressed the belief that human capacity development should be the most important attention of government, and has therefore spent no resources in providing for this. His commitment has been firm and unshakable at every time. He has had to mention it. He will tell you that this is where I'm going, human capacity development. That said, I would like to add that in dealing with the human component, there's need to be strategic so as to achieve your desired outcomes. This is exactly what we did. First, we understood that the public service also often proves to be an establishment that is reluctant to change. I'm sure that's how yours are as well. Change is very difficult to implement in a service. For some people, it is as it was in the beginning. It is now and forever shall be. And they will tell you that that's how we'll be doing it too. Okay. Change is very difficult to implement in a sense, especially change that is disruptive, just as the one technology brings. We, particularly in Edo, we had a workforce that was largely computer non-literate. I use that word non-literate rather than illiterate. Now, we were confronted with a very reluctant and highly suspicious workforce. Why? There was this palpable fear that the introduction of technology would lead to massive job losses. As a matter of fact, some representatives of the organized labor had visited me at the onset 4 years ago and confronted me with this concern. They urged me to prevail on the government to reverse it. I assured them that all was well, even though I could perceive that they were not convinced. I never brought that up to the governor because I knew it was something I couldn't discuss with him. So we knew that this fear existed. It had been oft demonstrated. But what did we do? We decided to confront the monster of fear and apathy frontally. Now, the governor has set up a team, the e-governance implementation team, made up of over 90 top and middle level officers. Again, this is what you should do. Set up a team. But you must personally lead it as head of service. That's what I've done here. 90 officers, middle level, high level. I can hardly fathom why Mr. Governor appointed me to lead this team. You know why? At the time that this started 4 years ago, I was virtually let me use the word illiterate. So I was wondering why the governor chose. You had someone at the MDICT and several people in the system who were very, very good. But these guys have taught me computer and the language of computer so much that I now sleep and wake up in it. So it shocked me that he appointed me. But meanwhile, we had set up transformation team earlier. And to drive the transformation initiative deep into the fabrics of the service, we have, on the instruction of His Excellency, selected a number of young men and women who were outstanding in intellect and with very strong work ethic and made them change champions. We were of the opinion that since we already had these officers, whom we had invested time and resources to train and prepare for the transformation that was to come, we did not need to reinvent the wheel. Hence, some of these officers were selected to be part of the e-governance team. Following their selection, His Excellency the Governor conferred them with the nomenclature e-gov champions. So the nomenclature e-gov champions actually came from the government. After we achieved the paperless initiative, and to encourage and reward these crop of officers, the governor directed that they be promoted by 1 grade level. This boosted their confidence and gave them the motivation to give back. I'm sorry, let me drink water before I run out of gas. Next, we decided that we should do 2 things. And please listen, because these again were deliberate and intentional. We needed to ramp up the acceptability of the project. If you have a project and you don't get your people involved in it, both at the stage of conceptualization and implementation, you will run and run and run, and you find that nobody is running with you. So you need to be very careful about that. Having studied the concept of change, again, this is something my colleagues should take as serious. What I've been doing, I've been taking courses on my own, studying change, leadership, studying revolutions in terms of internet, in terms of digital revolution. I've studied and taken courses, and I've been certified in some of these courses. So when I speak about these things, I speak on an informed basis. And that's important, because when you take these courses, get used to these things, including what MD ICT, is he here? MD ICT, thank you. Great guy, thank you. Deliberately, this guy and his team ensured that, because I lead the team, they infused me with the knowledge and experience that I needed to lead the team. But I also helped myself. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Okay, we decided to do 3 things. Having studied the concept of change, I realized that people are naturally inclined to resist change, especially the disruptive kind of change, such as the one which the introduction of tech brings into a traditionally analog institution like the civil service institution. This is mainly out of ignorance about what such change is about and what prospects it holds for those who are affected by it. We also thought that for a highly conservative service like ours, it was needful and expedient to be autonomous. Again, I will explain that. It's a legal word. It means from within. So you're not imposing things on people. You're making them, own it from the get-go. Autonomous in conceptualizing and implementing the change sought to be in place. Our strategy was therefore to initiate the change process from within rather than impose it on ourselves. Our thinking was that people are more likely to believe in and support a change process if they are carried along in the process of its conceptualization as well as implementation. That way, they are more likely to embrace it as their own, accept and buy into it, and then drive the process. So our strategy was twin. First, tell the people what this is all about. Go around. I'll tell you how we achieve this. Go around. Again and again and again and again. And then be autonomous. Develop the initiative, even though you have the ideas. But when you come to them, throw it open and let them relate with you on those ideas so that they can understand it. Sometimes they take it on as their own. With this in mind, we decided to embark on massive sensitization of the workers and designed a scheme which I actually could name Word Round. This was a properly packaged, regular interactive sessions with civil and public servants across the board. It was a very tedious exercise that took the team, which I personally led, to every MDA at least 3 times, in some cases 4 times. And at these interactions, we conversed on a plethora of issues, but with emphasis on our e-governance initiative. We threw the whole thing open. We told them what this was all about. We told them the fact that this was likely to affect them, sometimes negatively if they took it that way, and oftentimes positively. And so they had to choose. Conversations were open-minded. They were very forthcoming to us because we were very clear that nobody will punish them for saying anything. So we're open to them and they were open to us. Later, we broke the team into 10 groups, with me leading subgroups, 10 subgroups, with me leading one of the groups, one of the subgroups to continue with the interactions. At these interactive sessions, we broke the issues down. Conversations were deliberately down to earth to boost trust and confidence. We needed to obtain their trust and confidence. Participants became quite forthcoming, and in some cases, even effusive about their thoughts and concerns about the project. Meanwhile, we had in each team tech people from ICTA, process experts from our consultants, Green Zone Consultancy on eGov, and Central Securities and Clearing System, CSCS, on digitization and archiving. These exercises were a huge success. Through them, we succeeded in exciting our staff about the wonderful prospects of the project and pictured the expected outcome to them. We did a lot of storytelling. Where is Moa and she has gone? She used to tell us about, successful in sensitization by storytelling. That's something that you must take up. Let them see the future that you envisage, by this project, and tell them stories of how this can be achieved. Okay, through them, we succeeded in exciting our staff about the wonderful prospects of the project and pictured the expected outcome to them. We did a lot of storytelling to excite them and gain their support for the project. This was quite revealing. The fact that we went to them rather than ask them to come to us elicited trust and confidence from them. We were informed that it was the first time that the city head of service in Edo State would be embarking on such service-wide visitation and sensitization. Significantly, we also assured them that their jobs were safe. That's important. We were also strategic in using the visits to elicit questions and comments about every aspect of this job. And I think this is instructive. You may not have that difficult because we have already created a roadmap, which you can leverage. But in our own case, we didn't have a precedent. We didn't have anybody who had done this before. So the conversations we had with our people were actually symbiotic. In other words, while we told them what they needed to hear, but not necessarily what they needed to hear, but the benefits of these things for them, they also helped us, told us interactions, also revealed to us from them that these were the areas that were likely to encounter challenges. And so it was, we give and they give. So those things that they told us, we took back as a team and interrogated to grow and develop the system. Because we didn't have anybody that had done this before, so we didn't have a precedent. So all the things that we have done because of these interactions and, of course, our technical partners also. The fact that we went to them, so we've gone past that. Significantly, we also assured them that their jobs were safe. We're also strategic in using the visits to elicit questions and comments about every aspect of their work. We did not shut anybody down. And we made sure we answered all their questions, even if we thought some of them should not have been asked. We understand that because of this, our officers expectantly and excitedly awaited these exercises, these visits. Since we had also assured them that they could make any comment or ask any questions under the sun, and that they will not be punished or harassed for it. But we told them, don't bring domestic issues to us. We are not pastors. They were very cooperative and quite forthcoming in providing us the necessary information that helped us greatly in improving the project. By the way, since no other government in Nigeria had done what we were trying to do, the insights provided in dealing with both the technical and process challenges of the project helped us build a culture of acceptability around it. What else did we do? We also organized workshops, both within the team and service-wide. There's what we call internal workshop, and then what we call external workshop. Not really external. It's for people, maybe permanent secretaries, other people, other than the team members. But from time to time, we're doing internal workshop within the team. Sometimes we'll come on a Saturday, sometimes we'll come on a Sunday, just to look at what we were doing and then how we can make it better. Okay, these were geared towards resolving outstanding issues and driving the sensitization project deeper and removing any iota of doubt about government examination to succeed at it. Again, the sales from these workshops were quite useful in helping us make progress in the project. Usually, the team will meet after every such workshop to review things and gain useful insights to make progress. To gauge the pulse of our staff on this project, We also carried out online surveys. Again, I think this is important. These surveys enabled us to see how our staff were relating with this project and what issues they had with it, what challenges and difficulties they were encountering. And then they spoke to us about. So these surveys were used to gauge their pulse and then to see what we needed to do. The learnings and insights from these online surveys were quite useful in moving the project forward. Significantly, His Excellency the Governor of Edo State believes in building the human capacity mind and retooling the skills of workers. He never hides the fact that in reality, you cannot expect a set of workers to perform optimally. He said it on the first day of the project, and he's always said it, without enabling